eCapitol News Director Sean Ashley joins us now with more developments this week at the Capitol. Sean, several bills to give teachers a pay raise emerged from a Senate committee this week. What did it look like?
That's right. On Wednesday, the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on Education took up 6 different bills related to teacher pay raises. Some of these are rather simple. They give a $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, or even $5,000 pay raise by increasing the minimum teacher salary schedule. Others are a little more complex. They give a series of raises over a number of years. And one by Senator David Holt is even more complicated in a manner of speaking, because what it does is simply add money on top of what teachers are currently receiving for a total of a $10,000 raise over a number of years. Senator Holt said if that plan were approved, sometime in the future they would probably have to come back and then adjust the minimum teacher payment schedule that's in statute. On Monday, it looks like the House will take up its primary bill related to teacher pay, and that is what's called the 1-2-3 plan. It would provide a $1,000 pay increase the first year, $2,000 the second, and $3,000 the third. The problem with all these plans, as was pointed out in the Senate subcommittee meeting the other day, is that none of them have a funding mechanism, and no new funding has been approved that could go to teacher pay or anywhere else.
That's always a problem, isn't it?
That's exactly
There's also
right.
been there's also been movement on the Real ID issue. Tell us about that.
That's right. On Thursday, the House took up the Real ID issue. The measure which they approved would allow 2 forms of identification to be issued to Oklahomans. You would have a choice. If you wanted to travel or visit federal installations or facilities, you could obtain a Real ID compliant identification or driver's license. If you have no intention of getting on an airplane or visiting one of the federal facilities that requires a Real ID compliant identification card, you would be able to stick with the same kind of license which we have today. Some of the concerns that were raised were those which we've heard in the past related to the privacy and the access to the data which many say the federal government might be able to obtain. But ultimately, a majority of members of the House voted for the bill, and it now moves across to the Senate. It's very important that a bill be approved this legislative session in order to essentially comply with an agreement we have with the federal government for an extension of the current waiver we have for not having Real ID compliant driver's license and identification cards.
Okay. Sean Ashley with eCapitol, thanks so much for being
You're
with
very
us.
welcome.